Cab driver rips me to shreds, thinking I can't understand him, but I can. This happened a few years ago, a couple of months after I moved to Chicago. I'd been living in Romania for several years before that, studying and working, and even though I hadn't planned on becoming fluent, life forced my hand. The university I attended had classes in English, but my day-to-day life outside the academic bubble, all Romanian, and fast. Landlords, shopkeepers, neighbors, if I wanted to function, I had to learn. So I did. I listened, I studied, I practiced, and by the end of my time there, I could hold my own, accent and all. So when I landed in Chicago, I was homesick for that messy, warm, sharp-edged Romanian energy. I missed the language, the food, the sarcasm. It felt like home. So imagine how surprised and excited I was when one of the first Uber drivers I got in the city had a clearly Romanian name. Not super uncommon in certain parts of Chicago, but enough to spark something in me. I was like, yes, finally someone to talk to, practice with, maybe even make a friend. I got in, all ready to strike up a conversation, maybe ease into it casually, but he was on the phone when I slid into the back seat. His voice was fast and animated, speaking in Romanian. I didn't want to interrupt, so I stayed quiet and listened. At first it was just casual chatter. He was talking to a friend or family member about finishing up work soon, that sort of thing. Then it turned. He said something like, no, I've got a few more hours. I've got some woman in the car right now. God, I hate this country. The women here are all fat and ugly. At least this one has nice tits, but why can't she lose some weight? And then he kept going. I just sat there, silent, calm, processing. He was laying into American women in general, complaining about the way we dressed, how loud we were, how we were all obsessed with money and fast food and didn't take care of ourselves. He made a couple more crude comments that I won't even repeat. And the kicker, he was saying all of it like I didn't exist, like I was just cargo. Now listen, I've always been a little chubby. I've heard it all. And Romanians aren't known for sugarcoating things. I could take the occasional blunt comment with grace, but this was different. He was talking about me while I was in the car, as if I was furniture. That tipped the scale from rude to humiliating. And also, kind of funny, because the whole time he was running his mouth, he had no idea I understood every single word. I watched the city roll by as we got closer to my building, and I debated how to play it. Part of me wanted to let it slide, but then I thought, nah, he didn't just say one off-color thing. He spent a full 10-minute monologue, dragging me and every other woman around here through the mud. He deserved to know he'd been heard. So as we approached my street, I leaned forward and said, in perfect Romanian, with the accent from the region I'd lived in for years, can you pull over there? On the right, his reaction was priceless. His head snapped around so fast it looked like a horror movie twist. His eyes widened, his jaw dropped. You could almost hear the internal, oh no, he didn't say a word, just pulled over and stared ahead in silence. I smiled, paid, and as I opened the door to leave, I tossed over my shoulder in Romanian, you're not attractive and you're also fat, so maybe you shouldn't make comments like that. And then I left. I walked into my apartment, shut the door, and stood there with this electric buzz of satisfaction running through me. I felt like I had just scored the game-winning goal in a stadium of people who had no idea I was even playing. He thought he had a silent audience. He got a bilingual burn instead. The best part? I screenshotted his profile, reported him to Uber for inappropriate conversation, and gave him 1 star with a polite note explaining what happened, in English and Romanian. I even translated it using the same phrasing he'd used, because if I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. A few days later, his profile was gone. Justice? Maybe. Petty? Definitely. Satisfying? Beyond words.